So guys, let's first talk about a little bit about saving here. You have to save often, like I told you already, in ZBrush, because it's usually sometimes the power goes off in your computer, goes out and everything. So there are things that could happen. It's good to be prepared. So in order to save often, you need a good shortcut for that. And I made my shortcut and Control S to save a tool. This save as Control S. You see the shortcut here. Control S. By default, Control S is assigned to save a file here. But since we don't save a file that often, Control S, I save a tool. So I save after every video, and that's a good thing because now my ZBrush got restarted again. Something happened, and now I have to go to again to show you how to put your texture inside, not texture, your reference. So texture, import, then go to Absolute Beginner's ZBrush course, this crop, open, then go to texture again, click on it, so it's here, click on it here, so it's here, and then go to add to spotlight button, which is this one on the right. Then it's here, then with this button here on the top, you see it, we make it smaller, and with dragging inside the circle, not completely inside the center, but between the center and here, we're dragging the picture. And then Shift Z will do the thing that we don't want to do. So Shift Z again, and we'll have this. Z, only Z, I'm pressing Z now, or Z on the keyboard, it's very easy. It shows the controls for the spotlight, but we don't need it. Now we go to Brush, Samples, and we disable spotlight projection because we don't need it now. And now, since we talked about it already, we'll go to the hands or the arms, and we'll make a polygon. We'll make their kind of polypaint, not polygroups, polypaint. So now, what do we need? We need geometry open. We need polypaint, no, masking, mask by cavity. Not super bad. Let's see. Okay, this is cool. Blur a little bit more. Okay, but I will disable those since I don't need it, and this is cool. I will revert the mask. You know how to reverse the mask, right? Control, click on the canvas. And then Control, click on the object will blur the mask. Then Control, click on the canvas will reverse the mask, but we need it to be like this. So I will Control H, but first select this color, which is darker version of our color. So C. And you see here, this color is here now, the mask color, and we will move this, so this color to be a bit more saturated, not as desaturated as it was. Then I will go and mask this, because I don't need here exactly like this. And now I will try with the alpha brush or standard brush with RGB selected and ZR deselected again. Control H to hide the mask, and then just drag here. So we have something like artificial or man-made ambient occlusion. That's basically what we're doing here most of the time, is this kind of artificial ambient occlusion. We are embedding it into our model. It's not mandatory, of course. I'm telling you, if you are rendering this in a good rendering software like Keyshot, for example, or even some max thing like Corona Render or V-Ray, you won't probably need this. But for ZBrush, although it has also ambient occlusion, maybe it's good to have it. Maybe, I'm telling maybe. It's not mandatory. So now, let's go and try again this. Blur to 0, this to lower, and wow, not bad. Let's increase it a bit. And now, I think it's fine. We should select this color here, the lighter, and make it a bit more lighter, and then Ctrl H to hide mask, because we need to see how it will look without the mask. And it's looking rather good, not perfect. I will just smooth it a bit here, it's not good. But a little bit of smooth never hurt nobody. Just a little bit, because a big smooth will hurt, definitely. So now we don't have mask because I've made this control dragging outside the canvas. I will select a darker color here. Let's select this more darker color, and I will just lightly draw where I think there should be ambient occlusion. Okay, here between the fingers, definitely ambient occlusion. Okay, I think this is good. Let's show everything. And now while I'm dragging, I'll have to be very careful, because my CPU will go to up to 100 and everything will be gone to hell. And I will do a little bit of ambient occlusion around this area here, which is completely good. I think this is fine. Yeah, this will be darker. Also probably we'll need a bit of it here in this area around this. And of course now I think it's good. Let's go to this one and make an ambient occlusion around these corners. And this is kind of a shadow thing, but whatever. Let's mask by cavity. Inverse, blur, inverse again, inverse. Yeah, when we blur it, we should go out and make it work like this. I'm just drawing with the darker brush. Okay. I think it's going pretty well. Hopefully I haven't made a lot of dragging the model, because then it's going to hell. It has to be smooth. This one, it's too harsh. So obviously, not obviously, but now I think it's fine. We don't need any more work to do, and we may start doing the posing, which will be a little bit, I will not get too much into posing, but I will show you basically how to do it. The posing of your high poly meshes. It's not difficult, but it's it depends. It could be difficult. In our case, it shouldn't be that hard. But we need one thing. We need those hands, because we will move them, mostly them, to have a lower poly version. They don't have now. They have only this higher poly version. They don't have low res or anything. They just have this. So, how to do it? I will show you now, very carefully. In order to make low poly version of this, we need to duplicate it, then zero mesh it to have the lower poly version, and then subdivide and project the higher poly, which is on top. But first, shift click on the eye. When we click on the eye here with shift, we just have the visibility of all the layers either on or off. And so now we will make the zero mesher of this poly, this tool. Let's zero mesh this sub tool. Let's zero mesh it and see what's happening. Yeah, I'm zero meshing on the lowest polygon count, which can be a little bit of a mistake, but we'll see. Let's see how much time it will take. A lot of time. We can rest until we are done, or I can pause the video and play it when it's done, so you don't have to wait, just me. So here it is. It's low poly, but I think it's good, it's bearable. So Control D will add subdivision here. So you see now we have two subdivisions and we can project. If we disable solo, we see that we have our high poly active, which is important. We have to have the high poly version active above or below, but the tool that not active, visible, but the tool that's active has to be this one. And now project all, the polypaint, always yes. And now we see this, Control D, project all, Control D, project all, Control D, project all. And now it will be a little bit slower. Let's see how much polygons we have here. Yeah, we can make Control D again. And maybe even not project all, but let's see. I think we will project again. And this will be the last projection. Of course, now we will wait a little bit longer because now we have a lot more polygons that has to be projected on. But it's done, and now we have the lower poly version. We can delete this, the upper one, and now you see Shift D, down, D, just D, up. And we have this higher port. Now we Shift select this, and we have everything active and visible. Now I will disable this guy here with Shift Z, and we will make the pose. But first, let's go to the next video, because it will be for the pose, and then we'll continue.